Turn it off.
Right, well, the hour's started. Welcome to another podcast of the Mouth of Manliness and TV show to you guys in Boston.
What up, Boston, America?
Look, I was going to do this. The Mouth of Manliness.
Oh, I love those stickers, Nick. Where'd you get that?
Yeah, stickers aren't much fun for people who are listening. My mate Phil Howes made us some stickers, and they're really cool. We're gonna stick them up around the place, maybe some in London. So if anyone gets a picture of themselves with a Mouth of Manliness in a sticker, we will share it on our socials. Just
I'm
for fun.
I'm going to sticker bomb the tube stations. So if anyone sees them, hashtag Mouth of Manliness, and we'll probably not do anything. We'll probably just say hello.
Yep, we'll say hello. Right, you might notice another voice in the room, which can only mean another guest. We don't have many guests. I'm trying to keep guests to a fair minimum, really, so it's not all about guests. But once in a while, we get a guest who's properly worth having. And this is our friend Brad Humble. Can you see him? Can you see him?
There he is.
There he is.
Yeah. What's up,
in
Brad?
the flesh.
Top first name, first of all.
It's actually Rumble.
Yeah.
But Facebook won't let me have Rumble.
No, yeah. So your actual name is Brad Rumble, right?
Yeah.
Which is amazing. But Facebook wouldn't let you have Rumble.
No.
So you've gone with
Is
Brad
that right?
Humble.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
At the time, it was.
You're literally like
meant to be ironic,
dripping with epic names.
Yeah, that is
It's
true.
nuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's-
Humble's really good, and like Rumble's almost the opposite to
Yeah.
Humble.
I kind of wish I'd gone with Grumble now.
Rumble.
But we're going back
I
about
like
6
Humble.
years now.
So what? Do they just not let you have the name then?
They're pretty tight with names, aren't
Are
they?
they
White
really?
boys at
What, 'cause
Facebook.
It's been used, or
No, there's other Brad Rumbles and there's other Brad Humbles as well.
Oh.
When I searched for it, I was like, there's no one called Brad Humble. That can't be.
Yeah, there's other Brad Actons. I couldn't believe it myself, but there's one
there's
or two.
other
out
Nick
there.
Hogwood, so that's like
Is there?
quite rare.
Have you settled on Action Brad?
Yeah, I think we've gone for Brad Action.
Brad Action.
Yeah.
Bad Brad.
So
Action.
neck tattoo is we're gonna get that sorted out once we get the tattoo
neck
table
tattoo.
back. Yeah, just Brad Action all the way around.
Action
think
all
that
the way. Right.
Yeah, and the kids as well. They're getting it. So
Extra bit of shading on the Adam's apple. Right?
yeah, that's it. Yeah, so that'll be the eye of Action.
Oh, yeah.
That might look pretty
Yeah.
good.
That's fucking cool. Cool. So when we kind of first came up with a podcast, I was thinking like right from that point really about having guests on, and you, Brad, were one of the ones that I thought of right from the beginning to have on for a number of reasons. First, you introduced, it was kind of last year, I think, and I was in a bit of a mess, and we were having conversations on Messenger, and you introduced me to the Darren Brown book, which is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I tell everyone to read that, man.
And then, yeah, we had quite a few conversations on from that, and obviously, your Grum, how do you say it?
Grum Reaper.
Grum Reaper. I always say Grum Reaper
Because you're posh.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, so, and that as well, basically, you're a big advocate for suicide prevention. You've got a massive story as well as to how you got to where you are.
Yeah.
And how you came to doing the artwork that you do now. Which, from what you were saying earlier, has been massively successful.
It's surprising. Yeah. I didn't realise it'd take off the way it has.
Tell us first what Grum Reaper is.
So Grum Reaper, the character, is like the anti-Grim Reaper. So rather than coming to take your life or take your soul, he comes to save it if you want to take your own. He's basically like a superhero for the suicidal and the lost.
So cool.
I'm writing the story for it at the moment, and it takes... I started out with a few little ideas for webcomics, and then I started writing it, and it just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. And now it's like it's going to be like 4 books.
Wow,
Yeah.
man. That's sick.
What, you're going to draw it all like a graphic novel type thing?
I'll write it as a novel first, and then I'm going to uni to do illustration to then hone my skills, and I can then turn it into a graphic novel as well. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Wow.
That's so
it's good
cool.
to have a mission,
Yeah.
isn't it? It is good to have a mission. It sorts you out.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it's something that Darren Brown says in the book, isn't it? He says if you I was wondering if that if he says the reason a lot of religious people are happy is because they've got a purpose greater for themselves. And I come from existentialism and cynicism, so I was like,
Yeah, I
I don't
do.
really like anything, or life seems a bit pointless. But in finding that purpose, it was on the mental ward in Basildon when I was there. I was like, I can teach, if I can teach myself how to beat back this demon that was depression, then it will become my greater purpose to then pass that on to other people. And that's where I'm at now. And that was 8 years ago I started that.
Yeah, it's kind of like me a bit. Like thinking, oh, you can use it rather than have it use you. And you can use it in a way that's positive. And then actually that makes you feel better. And along the way you're helping other people. It's like, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think like we very much did that. And I think that's why, why we're here, really.
Yeah, that's what we're getting from the podcast is basically we haven't got an agenda. It's great that we're doing it because we're mates and we want to do it. It's obviously I've already had the gear because of stuff I've had before, but what's come out of it, what we've got in common, and what people are reaching out to us about is the fragility of life and how precious we all are and the troubles we're all going through. And every week, like I know I keep saying it, but the messages that are coming out are just like, it's just crazy.
It's always surprising, right?
Yeah, like how much people are opening up to us and bearing their souls, basically. And we're no one, and we don't profess to be anyone, and we don't know any answers. We're just trying to sort ourselves out, right?
Yeah, I guess like in some ways you can share some of the knowledge you've learnt along the way. So you can say, right, well, this is what I do. It don't work for everyone, but this might be helpful. And that's kind of like what you did to
That's
me.
basically all I do.
Yeah, you just give someone, you just say, like, well, I did this,
like little nuggets of...
Yeah, but essentially
wisdom.
You have to get there on your own.
Yeah.
Like, these are some things that really helped me.
You got to take responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't... Like, I was a massive nihilist. I wanted to see the world burn because I didn't fit in. And it was trying to fit in that just drove me into the ground. And it's only really past 5-6 years or so, like through tattooing and now Grum Reaper, that I've found that you don't have to fit in.
Yeah.
Because we always view ourselves as separate to society because we don't fit in with a type of society. But we are part of society.
Yeah.
And it's normally people who are willing to stand out and be a bit weird that have changed history.
Yeah.
Like the way I was explaining to someone earlier, if you look at the tools the chimpanzees use today, they've been using the same thing for 10,000 years. The moment the chimpanzee decides to attach this rock that it uses to crush fruit to a stick, we're fucked.
Yeah, wow.
But that's, if you go back to our roots as well, there was obviously that stone that we used to crush fruits. And then one of them was like, you know what? I'm going to attach a stick to that. And then he was probably seen as weird. Like, why would you attach a stick to that?
Yeah, have you seen John? Look, he's fucking... Look at that. What's he doing? What are you doing with that stick, you bellend? What are you doing?
But you take that and you push that over all of time and you end up with the iPhone, you end up with everything we've got now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy, isn't it? It's so mad. That is nuts. Like, and that is true. Like, that's genuinely, there's no reason. But the thing is, that alone, like, so many questions come into your head. Like, because you think, like, you know, maybe not in our lifetimes, but, like, what does the future hold for us? It's nuts.
I think, like, coming back to what you said, though, like, people, in those early times, people became tribes. And they did it initially because it was safer.
Yep, yep.
And people, I think, still do that. To a
Roving
certain
wolves
extent.
and packs of wolves, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, like at school, you think people get into groups because they feel safer against the others. And I actually don't need to do that. And like I'm always saying to my kids, no, you just be your own person.
Do you think that's changing with technology and communication now?
What, that people are becoming less tribal or more tribal?
Less tribal. Especially with like the things that are being shared on Facebook and social media, people are seeing that there's more that connects them than divides them almost.
Yeah, I think my problem is that the only like younger people I see are normally like really naughty kids, and they're incredibly tribal. But then I think about like my nephews when they were a bit younger, and they were like really open-minded about stuff. I was always really impressed by that, and they kind of felt all right being themselves. But I know like some of them would still have periods where they're like, right, I need to cut my hair because everyone's taking the piss. You know, like that is always...
I recognise that, man. Yeah.
I think that is part of humanity, really. And you kind of like, I still have those moments now. It's like, why the fuck did I put this hat on before I come out? obviously because my hair was scruffy, but it wouldn't even matter.
You've got hair to be scruffy though.
Yeah, exactly. And we were talking about hair, like on another episode.
And he's slapping my bald head.
Yeah, but I like it. Yeah, it's great. But I think is that why we have like the middle age crisis and everything, because you're finished with school, finished with college, and then you do your work or whatever and do a little bit of normality, and then all of a sudden you kind of get to this stage in life where you're like, oh, hang on a minute, like, can I still wear my ripped jeans? Or like,
is it to do like what I've always sort of understood about the midlife? I've not had a midlife crisis, obviously, because I'm 30. But what I've seen in it is people seem to, they was told that this was the be all and end all. Yeah. Like, get married, have the house, the cars.
It was the dream,
that
the 50s kind of like...
And then everything will be all right.
Yeah. But then you get to it and you're just like, what?
Oh, no, it's not all right.
Really, no.
I mean, that totally happened to me. I felt like that all the way through, to be honest. But there was a big part of me that thought, right, I need to do this, get the house, and then everything will be all right. And then I've almost fulfilled what I was meant to do. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, oh, shit, what now? And I totally felt that. And until we started doing this, really, all the way before that, for years and years, it's like, oh, well, what am I doing for me? Mm. And like, that's all right to think, you need to do stuff for you.
And that's that thing that's bigger than you as well.
Yeah.
Because, as you're saying, people were messaging you, being like, well, I can be open about this sort of thing and not be judged for it. And that is transformative.
Yeah, like, totally.
Yeah.
And as well, like, being... Like, there's times when I think, oh, like, should we be saying what we're saying and everything? But then, if, like, we're honest with ourselves, we're just saying, like we say, we don't know any of the answers, and we're just talking about what we are talking about from our experiences, and that's giving power enough to kind of do the same.
That is answers.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. And we did say that if we can just not change one, but maybe help one person or get through to one person, then we've kind of done our job. And as I keep saying, that's a terrible idea for a business model and podcast. But like,
get rid of one person.
Yeah, that's my mum at home.
There is no business model.
I said the same thing for Grum Reaper.
Yeah.
And it was last September, I got a message from someone in Canada who he'd self-harmed. He was on the verge of committing suicide, and I spent 7 hours talking to him on Messenger.
Amazing.
3 months later, he messages me saying he's got his dream job, and I literally cried. I'm like getting choked up about it, just thinking about it now. Yeah. It was like, and we're still in contact, and that was just because one of my Instagram posts, it caught his eye, and he just wanted to message me, and it's like, brilliant. And I didn't want to see someone lost to it, because you can beat it. If I honestly think if there's any type of death or cause of death out there that you can beat, suicide is it, because
you can decide not to do it. I don't want to speak out.
Ostensibly, you can pretty much do something about it.
Yeah.
I find what's weird.
We're not playing it down. Like, it's not easy.
No. But I think like what
been there 5 times.
Yeah.
Frank Campbell's saying is that it's not like, if you've got a disease, you might not be able to beat it, like cancer or something. And I suppose like mental health problems are often very much disease-like. But essentially, you can just decide not to.
Do you see the difference between mental health and mental illness? I always say to people, you can have a mental health problem, but you can have bad mental health, but not be mentally ill, and you can be mentally ill with good mental health. And it's like, what part of that spectrum do you fit in?
It's like pennies dropping, because I hadn't really. For me, it's such a new thing to be talking about, and to be talking about it openly. And it's always there is this new banner of like mental health, and we were kind of worried that we didn't want to be sort of parked into sort of just mental health, but.
You guys are definitely not being just parked in.
No, we like to try and sort of.
We are parking in there quite heavily.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Like the terminology and stuff like that is something that media's given us. It does. I do worry that a lot of people have kind of jumped on it in regards to. Well, I shouldn't worry, because it's a good thing. It's a positive thing still. It's not
like self-diagnosis sort of thing.
Yeah, but I think what I like now is I'm seeing and hearing about companies that have got like side rooms for people who just want to have like 10 minutes.
Mental health first aiders.
Yeah,
right?
I've been working up at Imperial College, And anyone with a green lanyard, you can go up to them and they're a mental health first aider, and they will literally, I don't know what it involves, but it really caught my eye. I was like, oh, mate, that's awesome.
It's
like,
pretty
you can
cool.
literally, like, the people are really giving it some thought. And I think, like, we're lucky to be part of a generation that's probably seen the worst side of don't talk about it, don't cry, and everything else. But now we're starting to see this where you really can go into work and go, like, do you know what? I'm going to go home now. I'm going to have a duvet day. I'm not going to, do anything about it. And I'd like to think it'll be seen as, all right, yeah, no problems. Like, you go and do what you
Yeah, I
want to
still
do.
don't think that would happen.
No, but you know what I mean? It's
I
in
think,
that general
like,
direction.
Just there's progress there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm waffling
It's
about.
funny though.
It's new ground.
I think that's right. You can have a mental health problem and not necessarily be mentally ill. I think I go through periods when I would say I've got a mental health problem.
You've got clinical depression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got, and same as you, BDP. We get down with BDP.
BPD, man.
Yeah, BPD. And
Brain Police Department.
yes. And but I think I have got a problem. I've had numerous diagnoses over the years, and I can associate with those diagnoses, and I know like if there's a time when I'm not working on being on top of it,
You have to be proper on top of it. Right?
yeah, you do, and that's the fucking problem, and it is really tiring.
If I have something as small as just having a pastry, it just starts fogging my brain up. So I have to proper be on top of what I eat, but I'm like, oh, I want a kebab,
What? Because why? What? Because
like if I eat anything that's just not good for me, my brain will fog up and I can't think straight. So I have to keep my body like avocados. As I found out.
Part of your daily, you were eating an avocado when I come pick you up. So what part of your daily thought processes and stuff like that are affected, and like little kind of mental challenges kind of hit you throughout the day, kind of thing?
Just not being able to think clearly.
Yeah.
And especially where I'm doing Grum Reaper, I have to be able to be on point constantly.
Yeah.
And then, so part of it is not being able to make decisions or choices easily. So I decided about 6 months ago to just eat the same thing every day.
I pretty much eat the same stuff.
That's amazing. I love the idea of that, like the simplicity of
I
that.
pretty much eat.
Like, I try and wear the same socks and pants every day, because that saves like a lot of time in the morning.
What about the same pair from
Yeah, 'cause then you haven't got
the previous day?
No. Whoa. Rewind that.
At the same time.
They're black.
well,
Black with yellow stripes on for work, and I've got some colourful ones for weekends, and then black with white stripes on for work, and then some colourful ones for
I
weekends.
see. I do that with all of my clothes pretty much.
Yeah, it's
I
just
wear,
easier. You haven't got to worry.
Just black. I pretty much wear the same pair of jeans every day.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a couple of pairs, swap them about.
Yeah.
And a black t-shirt and a jumper.
Just
Yeah,
keep
I'll
it
change
simple.
my jackets. That's about all I change.
Do you not think? I think that's part of like a stoic mindset though, because it just makes choice easier.
Almost like simplifying everything down.
Yeah.
So that you're not almost clouding yourself with overly thinking.
Yeah, you don't need to think about what you're wearing. Once you know what you like wearing, that's it, done.
Yeah, I tell you what though, about 10 years ago, I went, right, I'm just going to wear black, and ever since then, no, I don't. You know, like when you get self-conscious and you stand in front of the mirror and you're like, I don't know. If you wear the same
really
shit
do.
all the time, you don't have that.
I really stand in front of the mirror and look at myself like, hey, yeah. It's a weird, because I don't think that I have to worry about what I look like. Like, if someone's attracted to me, here's how I break it down, right? I'm a big guy, shaved head, tattoos, piercings, but I'm not attracted to guys who look like me. So how can I decide if I'm attractive or not?
I just suppose that's about confidence, isn't it? Like, you obviously make some effort in what you're wearing. You're not just like you've got a style about it.
It's just cheap stuff off of Wish.
But yeah, it's a style about it, isn't it? It's not like you've just rolled out of bed.
Yeah.
Is it because
Some
you kind of
effort's gone
like because you kind of nailed your look almost? That it's kind of like you're within the scope of your wardrobe. You know, you could probably pick out 2 or 3 things.
You know what
Yeah.
works.
It on and know what works and know what don't. But what's freeing is not worrying about it still. Because I still there's stuff I've got to wear for work. And there's stuff I normally like to wear for this, but I didn't have time to get changed. I have stuff when I go to meetings. I have stuff when I do other things, music stuff and stuff that I wear at home. And like I always have to have all these different uniforms. And I kind of like I'm looking forward to simplifying my life.
Do you slot into different personas based on what uniform you're wearing as well?
Kind of, yeah. I wouldn't say personas as much. I probably talk more if I've got my fake glasses on and my checkered shirt on, and a bit of sort of Seth Rogen-y, and then talk less when I'm just like work clothes, head down. Yeah, all right, mate. Here's a screwdriver, whatever. Stick it in your eyeball. And that's kind of like, yeah, I've probably got like 3 or 4 different characters. But what this year has been for me is trying to get rid of all of those, and circumstantially I'm changing jobs and changing a few other bits and bobs. And
there is natural rapport though, depending on who you're hanging around with, your personality changes.
Yeah, I think because I've stopped hanging around with so many people because of work and everything else, I think part of discovering myself and who I am is kind of working out that rapport and picking out nice bits that I like and just kind of doing that. But it's something I hadn't realised until we were speaking to Neil. And you started sort of saying, well, Brad, you're this, you're that. And I was like, am I? Is that true? And I was like, oh, yeah, I suppose it is a bit. And then you start having when you had stuff pointed out to you.
Even people's judgment on you goes through the filter of their mind.
Oh, totally.
So
I was still like, no,
well,
fuck you. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I think it's like, I can't remember what you're saying now. But like, yeah, there's an element of like, oh, right, I'll take that. And I'm going to take that with me now and go about my daily life and just be a bit more like that kind of thing. So it's moulding, I guess.
Is it only with negative things or is it positive things as well?
I feel like people haven't been negative enough to me. Like, I think we've mentioned it in the podcast before.
Yeah,
like,
I want someone to punch me in the eye.
I kind of do. I'd rather
you
not.
know, like you were saying, that's nihilistic, isn't it? That's self-destructive in some ways, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm really self-destructive, so I can like associate with what you're
But
saying.
what I like about our relationship, Nick, is we straight away were like, no, fuck you, that's not going to work. Or I think I said before, like when I was getting my tattoo, I was like, oh, I'll take the line all the way up my shoulder. And it was like, yeah, but you look like a cunt. And I was like, oh yeah, I will. So yeah, I won't do that. And it's like, I could have said that, no, I do definitely want it done. I was like, no, actually, I don't know why. It was just like, I could have just carried it up or whatever. Well, I don't really know what I said that. I was like, it's so nice for someone to just say no or yes kind of thing. And throughout the podcast thing, there's been things where we've been like, no, we'll leave that, or yes, we'll know that. And like my previous friendships, everyone's just gone, yeah, that's a good idea.
Like they want to just be yes man.
Yeah. And I don't know whether I hate the thought that they might have to adhere to me, because they really don't. I want them to go, that's a good idea, but why don't we try this, that, or everything else? Because that's kind of what I try and do. I say loads of things and put all the ideas out there so that people can then go, right, we'll do that bit, and that bit. We'll put that together. I've got an idea. Oh, I've got an idea. And it all
So they call it
together.
subtractive thinking.
Yeah, I guess
maybe,
so.
but maybe within that you're being generous and going, right, we could do this, we could do that,
Yeah.
But actually, what you want to do is that.
Yeah.
And like you're like, I know that's going to work.
Yeah.
And then other people chip in, and you make it a group from that.
That's true.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with going, no, look, I've got something here.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about this? And then people can go, no, and you go, well, okay, I thought about something else.
But it's always my worry that people haven't said no. That's what gets me. But maybe
Do you think it's disingenuous? Because I always think if someone's too positive constantly, I'm like, why are you lying to me?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I feel like everyone's been like that over the years. What's interesting is I'm meeting a friend, an old friend of mine, who we got on really well with, but kind of fell away from. And he's going to be the first sort of mate that I've met up with since kind of doing this. I've got a couple of questions for him, because a lot of stuff went on around the time that we were there, and loads of people just sort of fell away and went away. But in my mind, I'm sure there was a couple of things that happened. We've kind of established that I think my brain is kind of shutting stuff away to kind of protect itself. Maybe it's stuff I've got to sort out and deal with. But I'm kind of looking forward to just saying to him, like, did I actually do anything wrong, or did anything happen kind of thing? Because everyone was kind of all positive and sunny. I'm certain there were a couple of instances that I'm not going to talk about, but a couple of things definitely did happen that involved me. Nothing sinister, but I'm fairly certain there was sort of things said and stuff I might have said. I'm looking forward to getting the chance to sort of clear that up and clear the air. And what is going to annoy me tomorrow if he goes, no, mate, you're lovely. Because I'm going to go, no, I really want, like, give me a bit more.
But he might have already, he might have just thought nothing of it.
Yeah, maybe.
You
Yeah,
know
that's
what?
true.
9 times out of 10, people are in the middle of their lives, or they're dealing with
They're
their
worrying
own
the same
fucking
thing.
shit.
Yeah.
They're probably looking at it and being
Yeah.
like, where did I go wrong? Where did I fuck up?
Probably, yeah. Why
And
has
then-
Brad rung me for 8 years?
No,
Yeah.
that's probably right, though. I don't really worry about stuff like that much now. It does happen to me.
It's like realising when people are walking down the street and you're stood there like, oh, wondering what they're thinking about me. They're thinking, oh, I wonder what they're thinking about me.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, it is as simple as that.
Because our brain's just going, right, we need to fit everyone into a box
Yeah,
somehow. And that's all you're really doing. And a lot of the time, like, you're thinking, oh, they're thinking that, and they're probably not thinking it at all.
Mm.
Like, and I do think, like, most of the time that's the case.
Yeah.
And I do, you were saying about, feeling, putting on different hats for different things. And yeah, we do that. But for me, like, I don't really do that anymore. I really don't. I got to a point where I'm so fucking fucked off of feeling fucking mental and ill that now I'm just like, oh, if you can't take me as I am, then really don't bother.
I think that's getting easier with age, in my experience anyway. I'm beginning to be a lot more forceful with, if I don't like something, I'm a lot more up for telling people, whereas I wouldn't have been before. I would have kind of like skirted around it or tried to overcompensate, to try and sort of make up for it. But I think now I am getting to the stage where I'm like, no, I just want to wear shorts all the time, or like, I'm going to wear these. I'm just
becoming the dude.
Yeah.
The bounce.
Yeah. In a dressing gown.
Yeah. But it's funny, like, I think you spend, when you're trying to do the right thing by everyone all the time, like, very rarely does anyone go, oh, thank you.
No.
People don't give a fuck. People really don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
People are only interested in themselves.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, not all people are like that.
No.
Granted, not all people are. But
do you not find with some people that are like selfless that they're doing that for a selfish gain?
Yeah, we covered this the other day. And we think I might be doing that.
It's that
I don't know why, but
it's the martyr syndrome, isn't it? When you're like, I'm helping everyone, I'm doing stuff for everyone all the time.
Yeah.
But no one's doing anything for me.
Yeah.
And then you're thinking, but I'm a really good person. It's like, well, you are a good person, but you're probably only doing it because by making them happy, you're making yourself feel happy.
You heard of toxic nice guy syndrome?
No, cool.
It's basically along those lines. Like, a guy will be really nice to a girl specifically so she'll have sex with him. And when his advances are rejected, he's like, "Oh, you're a bitch." It's like, no. That's not how it should be. You should just be being friends, and if you get together, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I've known a few people like that, and it's like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people get like that.
Yeah.
I read The Game, and that, like, that's almost a bit like that. It's that, you show some advances and then you neg them. So you give them negatives, and then they'll go, "Oh shit, I want to prove myself now, and prove that I'm alright." So then they'll latch onto you, and the more you neg them, the more they'll want you.
It sounds like a horrifying book.
Yeah, it's funny. I never really believed
really
about those processes, but they do
understanding
exist.
human behaviour. It's told in a story, like an autobiography, and it's really well written, and it does essentially is about human behaviour. And you find it goes crazy as well. I recommend it to anyone.
What's it called?
The Game by Neil Strauss.
It's the problem with it is being picked up by the incel crowd.
Who's the incel crowd?
So incels are basically your Gilead from Handmaid's Tale. They think that women are just to be used for sex. It stands for involuntarily celibate. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not having sex because women won't have sex with me. It's like, but they're not there just to have sex with their people.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and in this book, it basically completely objectifies women. And what happens is at the end, like, he learns that it was wrong, and like, it turns around. But it becomes down to a point when he's living in a house full up of like a religious cult, a house in LA where he's teaching everyone how to do it. Courtney Love ends up living there. She's off her head all the time. Everyone's just really pissed, and everyone's just pulling people and
allegedly.
fucking them. Yeah, it's mental. It's utterly mental.
Jeez.
He ends up being friends with loads of rock stars and that, and he just goes. But he's actually like a really little kind of Jewish fella with he had really wispy hair, and he went from having no confidence to being supremely confident, just through
understanding psychology.
It sounds like a cult.
Well, no, that's kind of where it went. But you can even go
like
on
a crap
YouTube.
version of the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah. Just set it up himself.
It does become like that. You can go on YouTube and you can watch people who use the method, and you see them just go up to a girl, take them off.
Oh my god.
That's nuts.
It is
and
like
that's
mental.
scary
It's completely
stuff.
objectifying and disgusting.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But it's interesting seeing the way it works. I was once at a meeting with one of my friends, and the guy who was like holding the meeting, it was just three of us, was like a super alpha, but like not big, but very, very
I want to talk
sophisticated.
about this. When I heard you talk about alpha male before,
Yeah.
it's just a social construct.
Yeah.
Why are you not an alpha male for being able to talk openly about your emotions? And
Well,
stuff?
that's true.
That's a really good shout.
My wife forwarded me something on like from Facebook the other day, and it had like the top 10 things like things that people consider to be manly in men,
Oh, that's interesting.
and stuff like fixing stuff and that kind of stuff. They're all down in the 7 and 8.
Sharpening a pencil with a Stanley knife.
Yeah.
Got to be on there, innit?
But like number 1 was something like a man who will hold doors open for men and women.
Yeah.
You know, just someone who's courteous.
Yeah.
And like most of them were like that. And
Sweet.
I found that really cool because I just thought, like, I do that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not holding the door open for a woman. I'm holding the door open because I'll let everyone go in front of me just because it's like that's a polite thing, nice thing to do. So I agree with what you say.
We grew up on celluloid, where you're seeing people like James Bond, and it's like, I am the ultimate pinnacle of men. But when you meet people like that, it's almost like a facade.
Yeah.
It's like it's covering up a lack of being able to deal with their emotions.
Yeah, or is it desperately the way a lot of people, you know, we were saying about fitting in, a lot of people feel better if they fit in. So are they just trying to fit into a mould because then they feel that almost like that's validating for them?
Yeah.
You know, like people who go to church, right? If I go to church, then that validates me and then everything's all right.
Yeah.
Whereas I've never been able to sit in that, so that's why I've always been a fucking mess.
Yeah.
'Cause
Mate,
I've never felt right in any of them.
I think like film and culture like has so much to do with it. I remember like watching Snatch and then just like dressing like people from Snatch all the time and like almost
It's
talking
very
like
influential.
it. Yeah, totally. And Lock, Stock and things like that. And it's
Was
like,
you guys talking about Star Wars the other week?
No, I don't think so.
But no, again, same sort of message.
Oh, we might have done.
I'm trying to think now.
I think I talked about the first time, like thinking about women and like fancying Princess Leia, and I used to draw pictures of her.
Her and Luke, yeah.
I don't think we're talking about that. That's
Prime
cool.
example in Star Wars is when Harrison Ford basically forces himself onto Leia,
Right.
but they've continued that
Yeah, of
storyline
course.
to them having Kylo Ren.
Yeah, there's a few like things like that. Like if you
But
watch,
that's a social stereotype, isn't it? It's like that's the way you're meant to live.
yeah,
Women are less, you know, men are superior, and that's all right. And you think that's true though. You think those films just carry that on.
it is crazy.
I've
isn't it?
never felt that way because like my mum's always, I see my mum as being quite a powerful person.
Yeah, mine too.
And like she was very much bought, you know, she was the main influence
Women
in my
are
life.
fucking strong, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've
exactly.
got
It's
to
like,
be.
and I said
Much
this
stronger
recently.
than
If men showing feminine traits such as crying, hugging, snuggling, enjoying that sort of thing, or enjoying romantic films, I enjoy a romantic film as well.
Yeah,
If that is then perceived as weak, then fuck you.
yeah,
Women are strong. Like, so how can it possibly be fucking weak?
yeah.
Surely, if women were able to show their emotions, that makes them stronger than a lot of fucking men, right?
Yeah, it is.
No, it does.
And it worries me how easily it can be swaying and effective. Like, have you watched Grease lately? Like, basically, like, is it Sandy and Danny and they're sort of messing about or whatever? But at the end of the film, when she dresses up,
Sandy's
puts
strong
all
and he's begging
the
her.
puts all the leggings on and lipstick on and the fake hair and nails and everything, then all of a sudden he's sort of super interested in her. And they're all sort of after her at the end.
No,
and it's
but
like
then
a happy end.
he's that. I mean, that's a multifaceted thing. Is that it is Sandy regaining her power and saying, "No, look, I'm in charge now." And then it's the film saying that women can be strong, or at the same time, it's saying to be strong, you have to put on wafer thin trousers,
Yeah.
and like do yourself up.
Yeah.
Like it's and
There's a lot to be. It's funny, like we see it recently, and I was like, "Fuck!" There's something there, and there's something something's not right with that, and I don't. That really highlighted a lot of stuff for me, and I started looking and thinking, like thinking back to other films and thinking like, fuck, it's crazy, like scary almost.
It's like,
How like them stereotypes are just plugged in.
like James Bond straight up just rapes pussy galore.
Yeah.
Like, how many times has he just like grabbed them, pulled them towards him?
Yeah.
But James Bond's like, oh yeah, it's the pinnacle
Yeah,
of
it's funny because I
manliness.
can't say I've ever tried
it's
to
like-
do that, but can you imagine someone watching that thinking it's normal and then going out and doing that? It's
No,
crazy.
well, no, that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
It's exactly what happens, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Men are almost empowered to assume that it's good to be forceful.
Yeah.
And like for years, the courts have pretty much been all right with that. They're only just really changing.
Yeah.
Because, but I mean, that's just built into our culture. That is totally just part of our culture. But you don't have to. You don't have to accept cultural norms, do you?
No.
But the problem is that people kind of think they do.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, then they're not comfortable. So it's easier just to go with the norm. But it's
Hopefully,
bollocks.
like, are we in a time now where people being grateful for what they've got, what they can do, what they can achieve, being a bit more humble and being empowered to sort of stand up for what they want to do, what they believe in. I like to think stuff's changing and turning around.
I think it's changed at a phenomenal rate now.
Yeah.
Like with, if you go back to when I was at school, like 15 years ago, if you was gay, people would still give you a bit of a rib digging.
Yeah, of course.
Whereas now, you ask someone who's at school, it's like, oh, is anyone in your year that's gay? They're just like, yeah.
Yeah.
There's Mark,
Yeah.
there's
That's
Lisa,
so
and it's
cool.
just like, what?
That's so
And it's
weird.
that's the sort of, that's what you want.
Yeah, and to turn that, like you say, that has turned around in our lifetime.
Yeah.
And there's no exact. I mean, there probably would have been people that were or wasn't like angry about it, happy about it, had like opinions about it and everything else years ago as well. But the fact that that's becoming the social like acceptance and openness of everyone, and hopefully it comes down to like love and seeing good in people. I think it means like humanity is turning around a little bit.
Yeah, in some ways. I always say we need to like the old generation. They need to die out, and then we might go.
That's right, though.
And it's almost like we can put.
They ain't listening to the podcast anyway, are they?
And I always like I had a big kind of not a big argument, but quite a heated discussion with my sister about like you know, like the war and how I kind of wish we would just move on from it.
Yeah.
But like she was really, really angry with me for saying that, and I kind of went away and learnt a lot more about it because I thought, well, there's got to be something in it, and I could understand her point of view, but it's almost like as the older generations now go, that it will be more open because there's not someone just holding it back.
Whenever I hear people talking about World War II, it's always in this relation to like nationalism or the ferocity of our soldiers. Do you know only like 15% of the soldiers would shoot at anybody from both sides?
Yeah.
Is that
It's,
right?
yeah,
surprised.
they'd either shoot up into the sky or they'd shoot down into the ground. Because
Yeah.
when you look across and you see someone who's 18 and you're 18 with fear in both of your faces, it's just like, why
Is
the
that
hell are we
right? I didn't
here?
know
It doesn't surprise me. I'm so cynical about the war. I really don't want to say something out of turn. A lot of people have
Be
obviously.
careful, brothers. People get upset about
Yeah,
this
I
shit.
know,
They really
right.
do.
Sorry, Mum, but like, there's elements of me. I did think the other day. I wonder if they told everyone to go downstairs, go in a shelter, or hide under the table, while they knocked down loads of bits of London that they didn't want or didn't like anymore.
You're talking about like
And then-
conspiracy stuff now.
Yeah, maybe. Right, and then when everyone come out, it's like, oh, look what someone else done. Now that's unfactual, and I've just made that up. But like, think about it for a second. And I also think that about the Great Fire of London as well. I do think like maybe they've like, oh, I
No,
don't-
but didn't it happen just after, like, when didn't that kill the plague?
oh, did it really?
And it wasn't it just mostly the poor areas that burned down.
That's what I'm saying.
Where
like,
most of the plague was
that-
because it was the poor people who couldn't fucking.
I'm not saying
Get
this
care.
stuff happened, and
Just shooting the shit, right?
Yeah, all I'm saying is like, you know, like my granddad was in the war and my great grandma was in the war. When my granddad's come back with like an arrow in his back, like my uncle still got it. Like,
An arrow?
yeah,
What
like
was he?
He was in Burma, I think, or something like
Oh.
that. But oh no, he wasn't. That was where was he? He was in Borneo. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've entered into a bit of a fucking minefield.
It can't. For me, can I interject? No.
Yeah. No, you can, because I want you to. Because
What
I don't want to
find
say anything like I'm going to have like loads of people
what I
from
find
Age Concern ring
about
up
the
now.
war, and you actually very rarely see this in the older people who were actually in the war. You kind of see it from others quite often. But that kind of perpetuation of anger, animosity and hate, that feeling that we won, thus making us better.
Us and them.
And I just think it divides people.
Yeah.
And then you see a lot about Brexit, and that kind of is very similar.
Yeah, it's touching on that.
It's harking back to a time that, we've moved on from.
Yeah.
And it's like, actually, that these conversations aren't helpful. We should be thinking from a standpoint of let's try and be nice to one another and all move forwards.
Yeah.
And I find when like talk of war and that comes in, no one really focuses on that.
No.
They focus on, haven't we done a good job? Didn't we win?
Yeah.
Our country, aren't we brilliant?
Yeah, or it's like we won it for that other
country. I don't think we should be thinking in
country.
terms of countries.
No.
I think we should be thinking in terms of people.
Yeah.
So we're right. Yeah, we are a country on our own. But actually, it's our world.
Yeah.
This is what always comes back to my thinking. It's like, well, it's our world. So all the time we're thinking in terms of country, which is just a name.
Yeah.
Then
Lines
we're just
drawn in the
separating each
sand.
other out. And all the time we're separating, we're going to have conflicts because people always want to be better.
I always
Yeah,
find
I
a lot of
agree.
divide is to just do with identity. So you've got white versus black,
Yeah.
poor versus rich, old versus young, right versus left,
Yeah.
red versus blue. And your identity just hinges on your belief system and how you was brought up.
Yeah, where you were born.
And it's ultimately irrelevant because you feel the way I feel about the things that hurt you or the things that make you happy. So knowing that the core of every human being is the same basis of emotions,
Exactly.
you should be connecting with each other on that basis.
Yeah, finding
rather
more
than,
thing in common is positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we're all vulnerable.
Even last night, I was walking home with a chav, as we used to say, but we were just talking about life and just talking about life, And
I found like there's a common language within us all. Like if we start talking about ourselves and our feelings, like that's common to everyone. And if we do that, we'll all probably get on a lot better because we'll understand other people's issues, we'll understand our issues, and life will be a lot better. Whereas at the moment everyone wants to divide, and it's like, well, that's not the answer. There's an overarching truth here.
It's like the
that
divide and
everyone
conquer,
seems
right?
to be fucking missing.
Yeah.
So let's sort it out. This is fucking obvious.
Yeah.
Like it really is. It's like we're just basically humans who are all scared.
But then does it come under, I know it's like conspiracy again, but does it come down to like control and money and like keeping people in fear? And
I don't
scared
think
and-
that, like, I used to be a massive conspiracy nut, like
Yeah.
seriously massive conspiracy nut. Like I watched Zeitgeist when I was 18 and I was like, there's a cabal controlling everything behind the media. But I don't think nobody can do that.
No, it's not
Like,
as defined as that.
Yeah.
I think it's just the terms are kind of generalised a little bit and kind of scaled down. But I don't know. You hear stuff and see stuff and you think, Did you share the Charlie Brooker TV?
How TV ruined your life.
I watched it.
Hell yeah.
It's so good, isn't
It's
it? And that,
proper good, yeah.
like, again, it's someone who is making a TV program, and
But it's on TV and
Yeah.
he's ripping TV
Yeah.
to shreds. It's like, how did you
What's
do
it
this,
say,
Charlie?
essentially?
it's basically Charlie Brooker, wrote Black Mirror,
Yeah.
does the end of the year thing, and
News
that's
White,
so
Screen
good.
Yeah,
White.
it is really
That's
good.
it. Fundamentally breaking down like the reason why television come into our homes.
Yeah.
Through government and BBC and propaganda. It's not directly through that, but it sort of
Was
touches
it,
on that sort of
public
things.
information films,
Public
wasn't it?
information
Yeah.
films, and then
Piffs.
that's it. And then spoke about how they were kind of made to make people fearful of the world around them.
That was just episode 1 as well.
Yeah, and
There's
some of
6
them are like,
episodes.
insightful,
Proper
like
good.
look left and right when you cross the road or whatever. But then there's some of them that are just next level crazy, aren't they?
Was it the nuclear war? Was that one on that episode?
Oh, that's it. And they it was a film. Didn't it have who's the guy from Police Academy? No. But yeah, it's like a legitimate Gutenberg. That's it, not Zuckerberg, other guy. it was like a legitimate film, and it's basically like the fallout of nuclear war and stuff like that.
Was
And
when they really thought they were
but they
gonna do
actually showed the government response to that and the bills that were put in afterwards as a response to that. Some people see it as such an element of truth in it. It actually affected politics and media and the way people live their lives from like the 60s and 70s onwards.
I remember when 9/11 happened. Shortly after 9/11 happened, there was no talk about Islam or Muslims being responsible. It only started to creep in a few years afterwards. And when there was that 153 minutes, that documentary, right?
Yeah.
And I was watching it, and it was just constantly showing like sound bites of people that were blaming Islam, and it's like, and I was
where's everyone else?
I remember, like, I was working at Costco at the time, and there was this really, really aggressive woman. She was always aggressive, and I hated working there. And I remember it came on. I was on the till by the TV screens, and it came on. And it was like the next day, this angry woman started having a go at this, like, you know, he had a beard.
Like Middle Eastern sort of thing.
Yeah, and going, you fucking maggot, you fucking did this. And everyone was like, oh, you better go, mate. No one went, what are you saying? No,
well, nobody dropped her.
No one
fucking dropped her.
Oh, you better go, mate. It was like, well, you know, she's probably got a point. And but people were angry. And the thing is, like, these things happen and it just makes everyone angry.
Yeah.
And all the time people are angry. Like, it's a good position for the government to go, like, well, we're going to sneak in we're going to put in a load of fucking restrictions on liberty here because we need to be safe.
Yeah.
And all those kind of things. And I do think that happens. I try not to get too fucking...
Harks back to V for Vendetta in it, when it's like, I know why you did it. You were scared. And it's like, oh, why did you get it right?
It is, but it's like, you can't... I question why films like that are made. I do wonder whether, like, writers and directors are like, we know stuff's going on, we need to let people know in some kind of indirect way kind of thing. But then is that, again, just us being kept scared? Is that part of that whole propaganda thing again? Again, not just some like devil sitting behind a desk going, right, we're going to do this and we're going to do that and do that. And
or are we just scared by it as a result of that? And
maybe.
And then we want to believe that someone's controlling that.
Yeah.
Because the idea of it just being a result of chaos is more terrifying.
Yeah, more scary, I guess. Yeah, that is true.
I can't believe we've got into
conspiracies.
Let's
talk about aliens.
I want to just clarify that I am sympathetic towards people who have died in the war. I'm an advocate for help for heroes, and I understand that people and fallen soldiers and everything. I agree that stuff has happened, and I'm not against, you know, everything.
Dude, literally, if I watch Blackadder, I can't watch that last episode of series 4.
What one was it?
You know, when they go over the top.
Mate,
I've literally just got like goosebumps just thinking about it. It's like,
totally.
Because the way I look at it, we're going to get into politics now. When I look at the past few governments that have been in power, they've kind of just decimated the world that the soldiers left behind for us. Like, they built the NHS, they built social welfare, they built social housing, and subsequent governments have slowly ebbed away at that, and I'm like, but people died for that shit. Yeah. And that's what gets my goat. That's what really gets my fucking goat.
Yeah, it's a worry that stuff like that can affect so many people, and potentially we should have a voice on, a say on what happens with it, is potentially in the hands of people that are just going to do what they want to do anyway. Because I question how much, like the voting system and stuff like that, how much of it is controlled and how much do we know about it and everything else. Like Lego Movie at the beginning, like they start the company and they say, oh, we own like all history books, voting machines and stuff like that, and you think like, this is a kid's cartoon and they're saying stuff like that, and it's like, you just don't know what to believe anymore. But again,
it's like I've read a theory that they teach certain things in school to trigger mindsets later on in life. Like, they teach Shakespeare because no kid wants to learn Shakespeare. And what that does is that teaches your mind to accept things that you don't want to accept.
That's amazing.
So then as you grow up, because you do like a whole year on Shakespeare, but you're growing up, you're developing, and you don't want to do Shakespeare. It's boring. Yeah. It's so boring.
Yeah. But you have to do things in life that you don't want to do.
Yeah. I've often questioned why I was taught the the crop rotation system of the 1800s.
Yeah, I was taught that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my geography exam was like crop rotation, weather, and shit like that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, where's Brazil?
Yeah.
Where's where are places?
Yeah. Tell me more
And
about animals
I
that
still
live
don't
there.
know because I really totally weren't taught it at school.
Nah.
And I remember like looking at a map once and going, fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
Portugal's there. I thought Portugal was there.
Yeah,
I
it
saw
does.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
In your brain, you've kind of got like a mental image of what is around the country or whatever. And when you actually look at the map, you're like, fucking hell, Finland's like just up there. It's like crazy.
So what you talked about being in hospital.
Yeah.
So were you sectioned then?
Yeah.
Voluntary section.
I basically tried killing myself on a. I kind of laugh about it now because I was with some friends. I was drunk. Went to a train station to jump in front of a train, and typical British trains, there was not another train for 3-4 hours. So I was like, fucking typical. So I found a broken bottle and I just went crazy on my wrist. Somebody saw it on CCTV, called an ambulance, and off I went. And I was in there for 10 days, I think.
Yeah.
But the experience was profound. I realised I saw four things taught me. It was like a growth almost. Like the first person was a guy who would constantly come up to you and be like, "What did you say? What did you say?" And he'd be like, "I didn't say anything to you, mate." And then his family came to see him and he didn't recognise them and he sort of got violent with him. And I was like, right. I thought I was like crazy, as it were, but that's gone. Like that is chemical. Like the brain is just not working properly. So I'm not at that level. And then another guy was paranoid that people were after him, but he knew people weren't after him, so he put himself into the hospital. And from that, I was able to glean the mind can create problems that don't exist.
Yeah.
Other people that I was talking to who had tried committing suicide, the resounding story I heard from them was that they were being treated badly by the people in their immediate environment. So from that, I was able to glean that there's not a problem with them. There's a problem with the way society treats them.
Yeah.
And then the last one, this old dear, she was suicide. She was like 70 or something, and I was dying for a cigarette, and they wouldn't let us outside to smoke. In fact, they'd confiscated my cigarettes. She passes me this little pack of Kleenex, and inside that Kleenex was loads of little rollies. And she passes me that, and I'm like, but where are you going to go smoke it? She's like, just go in the toilet. What are they going to do? Put you in a loony bin?
Yeah.
And I was like, so the rules, they don't really apply too much.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this like anarchist mindset was born, and I came out of the walls with the mindset I'm going to teach myself how to overcome this, because at the time it was literally there's your diagnosis, fuck off.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
They can't.
how do you deal with
They don't
that?
keep you in. They only keep you in whilst you're an emergency or
Yeah.
whilst you're at real risk to yourself or others. After that, it's meant to be aftercare, but the aftercare's not very good.
I'd never got any aftercare.
No, you're meant to. You're meant to have you be like an outpatient. It took me years to get good service out of like mental health, and I kind of have now. But it did take years and years. But yeah, no, they do. I've worked with so many people who have been in like Basildon psych wards, and like they've been taken in the minute they were like standing on top of a bridge. The police have got them.
Mm-hmm.
Take them straight there. Right,
That's what got me. Police got me
Yeah.
at the train station.
Your problem now. Hand you over. Police wash their hands of you. You're in there until you're not a danger to yourself anymore.
One of the police that picked me up though was a young lass, and she was talking to me like with compassion and empathy.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like she was passing me off. So maybe there was an aspect of that people do care on some degree.
No, and I think you're totally right. Everyone always thinks the police are bad, but no.
I like the
They're
police.
human beings
It's just when you
just
get
like
caught
we are.
doing a crime.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, quite.
Like even with regards to crime, if you look at society, you've got an oligarchical society, then you've got the anarchists, which makes up everybody. If you want to go down a 30 mile per hour road at 40 mile per hour, you're going at 40 mile per hour. That makes that common law. But if the police catch you, then you're doing a crime. So what makes crime is being caught doing it.
Yeah.
Because if you get for a law to be a law, it has to be true in 100% of cases, like the law of gravity. Otherwise, it's just a statute, a rule, something to keep you on the straight and narrow.
Yeah,
a rule,
that makes sense.
a ruler to keep you on the straight and narrow. So it's just like, just don't be an arsehole. Don't
I
burgle
think
people.
basically
Don't
law
mug people.
is, like the bulk of people, like the majority of people, aren't happy with that. It's really different when it comes into speed limits.
I'll just use that as an example.
Yeah, no, but generally, you know, like, yeah, most people do break the speed limit, and most people aren't going to phone the police on you. If you were doing 50 down a 30, then someone might.
Unless it's
like you're allowed
country lane.
Yeah, you're allowed to do a bit more. You know, like most people accept a bit more, and then, but if you go,
there's taking a piss, sort of thing.
and there's taking the piss, and that's the thing with laws, really, is that the people who generally get caught and get in trouble are the ones who just totally flagrantly flouted the law. But what it's all basically based on, like, the majority of people don't like that.
Yeah.
So that's why they're against the law. So there was a time when the majority of people, like, who actually said anything, didn't like gun.
And we're starting to see things turn around. Say in the 70s, drugs were very much like no. Whereas now, weed, for instance, you can buy a CBD weed in a shop. Legally, you just go into a shop and they've got jars and that.
But essentially, though, they're all right because you can't get. It's all right. You can't get off your face, so they won't be like the 70s videos. It will change.
I actually wrote to, because I smoked weed for like 8 years or so. I gave up about a year ago now, but I wrote to my Tory MP and I said to him, like, oh, it should be legalised. And he wrote back to me and said, it is this government's opinion, not my own, that wants to see it legalised. Yeah. The Tories want to see it legalised.
Yeah.
Because, but he said it's a generational thing. It can't just happen overnight. So you saw the oil creep in.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, well, hands off with that. This is starting to creep in now. And I do think it will become legalised.
Just a bit more sensible about things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking at it objectively.
Like, people aren't going to go around killing everyone. And as
it's a
like,
reefer madness, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. Like the war on drugs, people are starting to realise that.
There is a wicked documentary on Netflix at the moment, Fab Five Freddy from the MTV show.
Yeah,
that's on Netflix, and it goes into reefer madness and why it's called marijuana. So because it sounded more relatable because the Mexicans were bringing it over the border and they wanted to build up fear
exactly
around
that's
Mexicans
the other element of it.
and black people.
Like, keep black people and keep Mexicans, keep anyone who's not fucking white. Anyone who, and those radical thinkers.
Yeah.
Them goddamn hippies.
Yeah.
It literally
we
says,
need to keep them under control. So we've got something in place where we can go, right, oh, you've gone too far, we'll nick you.
Yeah.
Like, they've just created a way to arrest their way out of those people.
And when it's put in that context and when it shows you, I don't know how factual it is, but for me just sort of sitting there watching on a television that was such an element of truth for so long in my life.
Have you seen Bowling for Columbine?
Is that about this shooting?
Have you seen it?
I've not seen it. No.
It's
I've
Michael
got it
Moore,
somewhere.
right?
I take documentaries with a pinch
yeah.
of salt, man. After Zeitgeist and seeing all the shit that was behind that, I was like, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt now.
Well, I think you do have to take it all with a pinch of salt. But like Bowling for Columbine, they were talking about the shootings, and basically it came down to like why
Marilyn Manson, wasn't it?
yeah, it was Marilyn Manson's fault. But they were saying essentially, what he was saying is essentially like they won't get rid of guns because white people are scared of black people, so they want their guns just in case.
Yeah,
and that's what he was essentially saying. And like then you get like the National Rifle Association, they're like, oh no, we're having fucking guns.
That's crazy, isn't it? Like how much
is that not in charge in fact?
Should be. You're still on it. I can still see you. But yeah, his last two films, I haven't seen the latest one, but the one before, how like debt and banks and everything are turning everything around. I don't think that's on Netflix yet, but that is mind blowing. When it
comes to debt, in my younger nihilistic days, I always wanted to see just everyone en masse just stop paying their mortgages and loans. Because within the space of 5, and literally, if the bailiffs come to check your house, be like, right, you've not paid this, so we're going to nick you. But everyone on the street just stands in front of the house, just being like, well, you can't. Yeah. But everyone does that over and over again.
To an extent, didn't it? When they had like the bank crisis, and this is, I think, it's called Sicko or something like that. This Michael Moore one's called, and it's about that. Like, it really goes into that. It's like they're going, the police are coming with guns to two old people
to seize a house.
Yeah,
Jesus
two old
Christ.
people who are refusing to leave their house, and they're old, and they're saying, "Look, we've got nowhere else to go," and they're like, "No, you've got to come," and like essentially, we're gonna have to arrest you, and it's like, and this was happening all over America and in this country.
Yeah, there was a little bit as well,
and that is just because
they were saying they went, in a weird twist of way, they're now working for the banks. I'm like, what do you mean? They said the banks give them $80 if they'll clear out the house themselves, and they hand them a physical check. And they go, right now, you're essentially working for us now, clearing it all for us and everything else.
Because one of my early business ideas was so you can buy debt en masse. So say there's parking tickets and you know where they're going to be auctioning off that debt. You can go and buy, say, 500 parking tickets for, I don't know, $1,000, right? So then you're like, I don't know how much that makes them worth, like £5 each maybe? Yeah, I can't be bothered.
Come to the wrong place for maths, mate.
But if the debt's 50 quid...
Even if it's like several hundred quid that they owe, but you've bought it for £5, you could then just ask people to pay it off with a tenner. Everyone's just going to be like, yeah, take it. No more debt. Then their credit rating goes up. And there are some people that are doing that already. It's like, it's pretty sweet.
That's
you
amazing.
just pay off gradually. I'm doing you a favour, mate.
No, like not even gradually. Because you've bought the debt for £5, they only really owe you £5.
Yeah.
But you can double your money just by charging them a tenner. You can charge a tenner to clear off 100 quid's worth of debt, right?
Yeah.
But there are people already doing that.
That's so good. It's like Robin Hood kind of shit. I love that.
Yeah, but you're not being Robin Hood, really.
Well, no, because the most of the places where the debt comes from is large corporations or council things.
I guess,
So it is like Robin Hood because they've already foot the bill and then they're selling it off for 10 quid because there's no way to secure the debt. It's just like...
It is just like, again, though, it's one of those things where, like, I'm going through that at the moment with debt. I'm in like 50, 60 grand's worth of debt and we're trying to get it all sorted out and it's nuts, crazy. But, like, the thinking behind, like, I used to be so scared of it. And when I was younger, I had like 300 quid credit card and they were writing letters and the phone calls and everything. It made me really ill, like really got to me. But this time around, knowing what I know, and we were up for paying, we want to pay our way, and I can't pay that much obviously, but we've tried to get it all consolidated, and that is actually a bit of a myth. There's a lot to it, and you have to basically, you're getting another loan. We can't get another loan to that amount of debt and everything else. And just like by talking about it and writing to people, and they've gone, like, Barclays has been amazing. Like, they said, oh, if it's affecting your mental health, there's people we can speak to, we can send an hour. But yeah, basically, like, it's not a bigger problem as it made out to be, and there is so much fear around it.
It's because if you've got a mental health problem, they can't chase the debt.
Well, no, of course, but like there is so basically there's so much fear. Oh, I can't get in debt, mustn't get in debt. Deadline, daytime TV's filled with it all. Yeah. But essentially, it is, like you say, a process, a thing on paper, and if you talk about it and manage it, it can be managed and it can be sorted out.
And you offer something,
yeah, and it nothing's as scary as they make out.
I've seen so many people in court, and they're like, the magistrate, they're being done for non-payment of like criminal fines. I've worked in like, courts for years, and I don't anymore. But what they do is someone will come in and they owe thousands on like a fine for essentially like not paying a bill or something, and then they'll go, I'll give you £5 a week out of my benefits, and they go, sorted, done. Let's go.
It is as simple
as that. Move it along.
It doesn't have to be as...
I don't know how many parking tickets I've written off in my time just by writing some cleverly worded letters.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I won't do it again.
No, not
I tried that. I didn't get away with it. I should have gone, I'm mental.
12.
Yeah. 12.
That's how I've got. Oh, no, I didn't say I was mental. I literally just wrote him a letter that said, this is what I believe to be true. I'm not paying it. And they're just like, oh, we can't trace it up, so...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is nuts.
Well, that's it. Hour. We haven't even started on anything.
Nah.
We haven't.
We barely scratched the surface.
We kind of got into a few little bits, but anyway, that's got to be it.
Yeah.
We've got to keep to the rule.
But just please, like, don't get in debt or go out and kill people.
And like the army,
yeah,
we like the army, the good old boys. We love our boys.
Basically, we love everyone, and that's the message.
Essentially, we do though. Essentially, I believe in everyone should be nice to each other.
Love everyone. Be nice to each other. Be humble. Be Brad humble.
Don't be me, please.
Yeah,
but be humble.
Yeah, don't be wankers.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.
Be nice to each other.
Love and respect. Say bye-bye, Brad.
Ciao, ciao, everybody.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.